My name is Couch Scoop and we got to go at 100 miles an hour with this one. We just had the Nioh 3 demo drop. I need to get this content out before the algorithm royalty. We do have a performance mode toggle on that options screen, performance and resolution. I took the risk and went with resolution first. We see how that pans out in a second. We do have a choice of character creation, quite cool for a demo, and we do have body type A or body type. It's okay, I'm not going to dwell on it. It's got everything to do with ancient Japanese mythos. Let's move on. So a lot of familiar sights off the bat, including the UI and using the shrines and some of the options within your cosmetic and equipment menus. Leveling up doesn't seem to have changed too much, but there is some vast changes on the day-to-day combat, and this game has an injection of Wulong and Rise of the Ronin. Can you believe it? Straight up, we've got an allocated run button, L3. Can't not circle, hold down anymore. That does change things up, and it frees that button a little bit more. Notice I only have one stance unlocked so far here, bottom right. That comes in with weapon development and unlocks and the samurai points. So that's our first Rise of Ronin nod, is that the stances need to be earned, which is pretty cool. There's also a switcheroo to ninja style on R2, which is a bit complicated, and it also gives you access to separate range weaponry. We saw a little bit of that in Nioh 2. The key button hasn't changed for stamina rebirth upon expending it, so that's cool. That system is all very much intact. I'm going to be quiet for a bit. Here's the other massive change to that day-to-day combat. We have a double frickin' jump put in, just like the Wulong system. This is amazing. For traversal and changing things up in combat, you can finally do a mid-air slam. I have noticed some inconsistencies with the AI detection, but that's early days. Remember, this is a demo, and by the way, this is not a small demo. This is like 35 gigabyte, and I have a couple of bosses and mid-bosses in this footage, and there's even more behind that. So you've now got a build meter as well in that small circle in the right hand bottom of the screen, which allows you to then switch to ninja mode once it's full. You have a set of locked weapons on ninja mode as far as I can tell, hence the reason I got those dual swords out. That is a separate upgrade system to the day-to-day loot that you're picking up in-game. So there is only one main weapon slot at this stage. Still have range, still have the cool bow and arrow stuff on L2, but that one was a bit of a surprise. This might just be early game weirdness, and they might change that around, but none of it feels too alien. It's just quite a lot to take on board within a demo, and there's a lot more coming up. The loot pickup button is now R1. That's a Rise of Ronin thing as well. It used to be circle, I think, but it also requires more than one prompt. You have to sort of open a bag and then pick up the loot that spills out from within it. So this is the point where the resolution mode was just doing my nut in too much. I was seeing too many frame drops on multi-occupancy arenas. When more than one enemy was about, it was dropping frames. You cannot adjust that mode unless you are back on that title screen, but don't worry, there's quite a few shrines and saves around. I am amazed at the size of this demo, I need to say that. It's also quite hidden. You need to drill into the actual product page on the PSN to get to it. And this account is the old Dubai account. Can you believe this? No paid PSN access whatsoever, and I managed to get a random in later on, so my mind's kind of blown on that front. First yokai fight and you get introduced to the rudimentary parry system that comes over on R2 from the red attack. Red attacks are technically unblockable, but they're using their R2 switch mechanic to act as a counter. Again, it's more pile-on of new stuff, but we did see a rudimentary version of this in Nioh 2 with some of those yokai powers that you possess. In performance mode, we can see a straight up jump in those graphics. This engine hasn't changed massively, but being able to jump around really opens the maps up and gets you thinking about exploration a hell of a lot more. But the Nioh games were always really good on that front anyway. They've kept that classic open map system with just putting a dot where the boss is and the rest is up to you. So up comes one of the sort of mid-level bosses for the demo itself, and it is a bit of a tutorial about what you've been taught so far. They do launch red attacks, you need to switch the stances, use some of your range specials, and really stay ahead of what's going on with them and that stamina rebirth mechanic. I can't emphasize how important that is. It was always been a mainstay for the series, but I think they've upped the punishment a little bit on stamina depletion if you don't keep using it frequently. This also blends into your armor set. If you've got a really heavy set of gear on, that blue bar is going to deplete way quicker when you dodge or move around than it normally would. I took this opportunity to revive someone or bring them in using one of the pots that you get free. You've got a couple off the bat, so that's basically getting to spawn someone in to help you. No paid PSN access, and this being a demo, I was really amazed to see that functionality working, and damn does it work. And it didn't drop any sort of connection issues, frame problems, lag on the other player. It seemed to flow quite well. We have also still kept the celestial power, which is amazing. That's like the spirit monster that you call in on a double button prompt, and it looks pretty damn epic, even on performance mode. So then it's like, here's the start of the demo. You're like, what? Yeah, it's huge, this front end, and also offering you quite an open area. You've got the rise of the Ronin plant swaying around in the wind, and I hope all of this is being saved on some sort of cloud server. Probably a silly idea to play it on the old defunct Dubai account, but I seriously got goosebumps on this bit. I was like, oh my god, this game's going to be amazing, and I don't mind these changes on the combat front. But there is a huge one coming up, and I've always said that the series needed it, and of course, it's an allocated stealth button. I couldn't believe my eyes or ears. Clicking in L3 allows you to now crouch, sneak up and do a big old triangle attack on an enemy from the back. It was much needed, and it does increase the sort of tension when getting to a heavily occupied area. You can start peeling them off using the roofs. Brilliant stuff. Also pushing a lot more yokai and monsters that I imagined a demo of this type would. This is blatantly, I would say, about sort of stage 3 or 2 in the main campaign. They normally do that, right? They normally put it back just a little bit to make sure things are interesting on the enemy variety front and of course this environment. And yes, Scrampus is back, making 2 appearances in this section that I was exploring. Takes you around the houses, shows you a little bit of loot, not akin to the yellow birds in Ghost of Tsushima. These flyers, however, completely new to the idea of the Nioh game model. I just couldn't get my head round that you need to jump, you need something extended to get hold of them. There's an idea to use range, but it's just excellent to see a whole aerial angle added to a series of such longevity. This is the 3rd game and we didn't have a jump, and it just feels unreal. Along with the stealth, could this be Team Ninja's Elden Ring? I don't know. Only time will tell on that map size front. I'm so loving how colossal everything is. This is also heavily advertised as a PlayStation 5 Pro enhanced game, so I wouldn't be surprised if your resolution mode, if you have a Pro, runs at something pegged. I'm thinking maybe 30 frames per second. It's probably a 4K out and out resolution, but us base level machine owners will probably have to stick with the frames per second mode, which is okay. That's what you're seeing here. It's just amazing that we have already sunk to the bottom of the pile as PlayStation owners with new games and their quality or resolution modes. That didn't take long. This demo is offering you quite a few challenges. There's a sort of horde mode section where it delivers more and more yokai to you in a locked arena. It's pretty amazing, and that's not anything to do with the final boss at all. I was also keen to test some of its crowd control, both with these new mechanics and in that performance mode, and it's good news. It handles more than 4 or 5 people on map pretty damn well, and that's bloody important for a Souls-like or a third-person RPG. So my verdict is, damn, this is a massive and really cool piece of free content from Team Ninja, thank you very much. The changes haven't ruffled my feathers too badly, and I just want to see some slight improvements on that quality mode, which PlayStation 5 Pro owners will probably get anyway. I'm gutted I can't spend more time with it without putting out this video, but I've got to beat the big guys and the SEO. I've got to go fast. Sticking on Souls likes, I have just reviewed another Crab's Treasure. My name was Couch Coop. I will of course see you down there.